Hello everyone, my name is Shyam Manawat and I welcome all of you once again to the series of quadratic equation. In today's lecture, this is lecture number 7, concept builder lecture, concept builder videos. In this lecture, we are going to discuss how to draw the quadratic function on xy plane, on x axis. So let's get started. So graphical representation of the quadratic function. You must be wondering that we are discussing quadratic equation and suddenly we got function. Well, nothing to worry. See, if you want to plot anything on xy plane, do you remember when we have drawn the linear equation on graph? I have told you that the horizontal axis, which is x-axis, is independent and the vertical one is dependent on x. Yeah, so that time we have used some linear equation to draw the graph. So where we had two variables. When you look at the quadratic equation, let's say x square plus x minus 6 equals to 0, you do not have second variable. So how will you draw? How will you plot the quadratic equation graph on xy plane? That's why you need y. So instead of 0, what do? We take another variable y. You say a variable y or you say a dependent variable. One of the same thing. You can say y or you can also say f of x. That is function of x. It's pretty simple. Function of x is nothing but you will find at other side of function of x, you will find an expression with variable x. So you say y or you say function of x is one of the same thing. Yeah, it's dependent on x. Yeah, how do we read this? Function of x. It means at the other side of this equal sign, you get expression of x. You remember expression? Basics of algebra? Basic terms, remember? Expression, equation, yeah, expression. So this is what I'm talking about, expression. So you may take it as f of x or you may take it as y. It's one of the same thing. What do you want? What do you prefer? Y? Okay, let's do it with y. It's not going to make any difference. It will still be same. The graph will still be same. So now the property of quadratic function graph. Quadratic function graph always show a parabola. A parabola. Yeah, parabola. What is parabola? Parabola is like a curve which turn after a point. After a point, it could be upwards, it could be downwards also. Yeah. Now this point after which the parabola turns, that is called vertex. That's called what? Vertex. Okay. So this vertex could be minimum point also and this vertex could be maximum point also. If the parabola is upward, then it is minimum. If parabola is downwards, then it is maximum. Okay. So this is first thing you need to keep in mind. The way we understand that if we have linear equation, the first order equation, we are going to get what? A straight line. Yeah, we get what? A straight line. Similarly, when you have quadratic equation, the second order equation, you will get parabola. Parabola, see, the difference is here, this power of x. The power of x is 1 in the linear equation. That's why it touches the x-axis only once. So it has to be straight line. Whereas you see this is square. So it may touch maximum 2 times. Yeah, I'm using the possibilities. I'll tell you why. As of now, what is important to understand? If it is quadratic function, then your graph will look like parabola. Okay, this is parabola. Yeah. Okay, now let's take these equation one by one or functions one by one and try solving this. So you say f of x or you say y is one of the same thing. Yeah. If you want to say f of x, then this vertical axis I will take it as f of x. If you use y, then this vertical axis I will call it y. Fine. The dependent one, the dependent axis. Okay. Now, when we solved or when we drawn the graph in the linear equation chapter, do you remember how did we do it? We have taken x is equal to 0 and then y equal to 0. That was my method, right? Can we do the same way here also? Yeah, let's try it with the same way here also. Yes, let's do it. So here I have equation y equal to x square plus x minus 6. Fine. Now I know that I already know that it's going to be parabola. Now question number 1, will it be a parabola upward or a parabola downward? A parabola upward or parabola downward? You have to pay attention, okay? This is very important. You can make a note also. The parabola will be upward. Let me draw a bigger parabola here. Okay. And you need to write this. Okay. Now the parabola will be upward if A is positive. What is A? Do you remember the standard form of quadratic equation? A is the coefficient of x square. Yeah. So if A is positive, that means the coefficient of x square is positive, then it is upward. If the coefficient of x square is negative, then it will be downwards. Keep this in mind. Okay. That's how you identify whether the parabola will be upward or downward. I hope this is fine with you. Note this, draw this. It's very important. Draw this. Now, by looking at this equation, we understand that the parabola has to be upward because A is positive there. Next, now we will take the x is equal to 0 and y equal to 0 and try to find out the coordinates in terms of x comma y. So let's see x and y. The quadratic function here is y equal to x square plus x minus 6. X square plus x minus 6. Now if I substitute y equal to 0, if I substitute y equal to 0, if I take y equal to 0, then this will look like 0 equal to x square plus x minus 6. Oh, that's quadratic equation. We got equals to 0. And you already know how to solve this. You already know how to solve this, right? Do you know how to solve this? The shortcut method. 6 divided into 2 parts, where the product is 6 again and their subtraction. 3 minus 2. Subtraction is plus 1. Right? So the roots here should be, change the sign. 3 will become minus 3. Remember the shortcut? If not, then please go through my previous videos, guys. This is lecture number 6. Yeah, lecture number 6, correct? Yes, lecture number 6. So in previous videos, I have shown how to use the shortcut. So I got x is equal to minus 3 and x is equal to plus 2. Two values when y is equal to 0. Fine, no issues. Let's see that. So y equal to 0, I got x is equal to minus 3. Or we will have x is equal to plus 2. Okay. What if you put x is equal to 0? What if you put x is equal to 0? If I put x is equal to 0, then what will I get? I will get here y equals to x is equal to 0, x is equal to 0 and this is without x, the constant term, minus 6 as it is. So we got y equal to minus 6. Alright, y equal to, so for x is equal to 0, y equal to minus 6. Is it enough to draw, is it enough to plot the quadratic equation on the graph? No, it's not. I need to know after which point I need to turn that parabola. The point is called what? Vertex. Correct. So after which point I need to turn that parabola. That's also important. Now that is, it may be little complicated to understand. No, it may not be. You are my students. Why will that be? Why will it be complicated? My students are intelligent. Yes, I know that. Okay. Now this vertex, learn more about parabola. This vertex, this is the minimum point vertex. When you draw a line passing through this vertex, okay, this line, straight line, when you draw this in such a way that the distance from both point of this parabola is equal, like this is equal to this. You draw here, this is equal to this. Okay, so if you draw this kind of axis, this is called axis of symmetry. This is called what? Axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry. Sorry. Axis of symmetry. Yeah. It means it is the parabola will be both side it will be equal. That means suppose if this is the parabola and if you fold this, it will overlap. Like if you fold the parabola along the axis of symmetry, it will overlap. Okay. Now, what does this mean? Pay attention here. What does this mean? This vertex. Well, see, these points are on x-axis, correct? For any point on x-axis, y should be equal to 0. We have learned in the linear equation, remember? Y should be equal to 0, correct? So for y equal to 0, you get the equation like this, correct? So for y equal to 0, you get these points on the x-axis. Okay, so far so good. Now, if you find the midpoint of these points, it will come here, right? So the axis of symmetry should pass by this midpoint, the midpoint of these points. What are they? They are the point when you put y equal to 0. When you put y equal to 0, you get the value of x. In such case, you get the value of x, which is also called what? Roots. Remember, roots of quadratic equation. Yeah. Are you able to link the points? Are you able to connect the dots? Yes. This is midpoint of the roots, and this vertex is on the axis of symmetry. This vertex is also passes through the midpoint of the roots. That means, see, what is graph? Graph is nothing but a path followed by the equation. Graph is nothing but the path followed by the equation. That means this path which is followed by this parabola, here this point is, for this point, the coordinate for this point, here I should have x coordinate as the midpoint of roots. Confused? Think about it again. This is axis of symmetry, passes through the midpoint of roots and also passes through the vertex, correct? That means for vertex coordinates, the x coordinate has to be midpoint of roots alpha and beta. Yeah, okay, let me draw this, let me use it for this particular equation and then show it to you again. So here I got y equal to 0, I got minus 3 and 2. For y equal to minus 6, I got this is equal to 0. Now here I kept one more space to find the coordinate of vertex. So coordinate of vertex, to find the coordinate of vertex, let me draw these many points on the graph. Okay, let me plot this for you. Here I got one point which is minus 3 comma 0, the other point which is 2 comma 0. Let me plot this. Minus 3 comma 0, here y is 0 and 2 comma 0. Okay, and for y on y axis, when x is equal to 0, y is minus 6. Here, okay, so I know that it's going to be like somewhat, if you find the symmetry point, yeah, symmetry, the axis of symmetry, it has to be the midpoint of these two roots, minus 3 and 2. So minus 3 plus 2 by 2, find the midpoint, that's minus 1 by 2, that means minus 0.5 here. Correct? Yeah, you're learning how to draw, how to plot the graph of linear equations. So you have to have patience, huh? Rough, I'm drawing roughly, okay, so do please bear with me. It may not be passing the similar points, but it would be something like this. Okay, and from here, and this is the axis of symmetry is passing from the midpoint of roots. Learn this, axis of symmetry passes from midpoint of roots in case of quadratic equation. So the vertex will be on this point and from here it will turn. Are you following me? And on top it will keep on going upwards. Oh god, I'm not that good at drawing, please excuse me for this, forgive me for this. Okay, so this graph look like this way for the given equation. Now it's important to understand this point, the vertex. We need to have exact value of vertex, then it will be good, then it will look good. So this vertex here, the coordinate of x-axis will be this midpoint. This is nothing but what? Minus half. Yeah. So for minus half, what is the value of y? We need to see that's where you will find the vertex. If you are not understanding how to plot the graph, please go through my linear equation videos once again. So vertex of symmetry has to pass from the axis of symmetry has to pass from the vertex. This is how it is. I need to find the value of y. How will I get the value of y? For value of x to be minus half. Well, I have got the equation. Come on, I can use the equation. Why not? I have the equation which is what? Y equal to x square plus x minus 6. And I want to find out the value of y for x is equal to minus half. Substitute. So y equal to what? For x is equal to minus half square plus minus half here minus 6. Simplify. This will be 1 by 4. This will be minus half and this is minus 6. Let me use decimal points. Okay. So 1 by 4 is nothing but 0.25. Here 1 by 2 is nothing but minus 0.5 minus 6. This will get you minus 6.25. Okay, y equal to the new point for x is equal to minus half, or let me say minus 0.5. The y is equal to minus 6.25. All right, this is the vertex, this is the coordinate of vertex. Yeah, this will be minus 0.5 comma minus 6.25. So what are the important points to understand when you plot the graph of quadratic function? One, substitute y equal to 0, so you get a quadratic equation where the other side is equal to 0, so you can solve the equation like quadratic equation and get two roots. Once you got the roots, okay, so you can mark the points. Then next point is when you put y equal to 0, sorry, when you put x is equal to 0, you get a point on y-axis. Next, to find the vertex, this is important, to find the vertex, so you can make a note also. To find the vertex, use, or maybe say put x equal to midpoint of roots, midpoint of roots. Let's say if the roots are alpha and beta, midpoint of roots. Yes, and find midpoint, sorry, by 2, and find value of y. Okay, to find the vertex, this is important, you can underline, note this. Yeah, the midpoint of roots. So midpoint of roots is what? Alpha plus beta by 2. Alpha plus beta is what? Sum of roots. Sum of roots. Yeah, so for sum of roots, you don't actually need to find out the roots, because for sum of roots can also be expressed as what? Minus b upon a. That is what? Minus b upon 2a. That means if for any quadratic function, if you substitute x is equal to minus b upon 2a, where a is the coefficient of x square, b is the coefficient of x, then you get the value of y, you will get some value of y, that value of y and this value of x both will get you the coordinate of vertex. I hope you are able to connect the dots. See, we are proceeding to next chapter, advanced chapter, so we have to be advanced too. I know that this is not very easy to understand, I understand. Well, I'll give you more example, don't worry. Is this okay with you? Rewind this part of video and understand this once again. Okay, let me jump to the next question and have this in mind. To find the vertex, the x coordinate will be alpha plus beta by 2, sum of roots by 2, the midpoint of roots. Then find the value of y. So the coordinate of x will be what? The midpoint of roots, and by substituting the midpoint of roots, whatever you get the value of y, that is the coordinate of vertex. Yeah, confusing? Let's try with the question. Let's see if we try with one more question. I have one more equation there. Yes, this equation. Let's try with this. Learn, don't skip. This is important, guys. This is important. So what are the steps? You can also learn the steps. Okay, the first step is this is f of x, or you can also say nothing but y, x square minus 3x minus 10. Okay, what you do first, you substitute y equals to 0. If you substitute y equals to 0, you get this as quadratic equation, which is y equals to 0. You get what? X square minus 3x minus 10. Simplify this. Let me use the shortcut. Here 5 into 2 is 10, and if you do minus 5 plus 2 is going to get you this minus 3. With the shortcut, I got x value is what? Change the sign, 5 and minus 2. People who don't know what am I talking about, how did I get this with the shortcut, please go through the previous lecture number 2. Okay, coming back to lecture number 6. Yes, so substituting y equal to 0, I got x as 5 and minus 2. Yeah, now let me substitute y equal to 0. I know if we substitute y equal to 0, we are going to get only one equation. So if you substitute y equal to 0 here, what do you get? Y equals to 0, what do you get? Sorry, my bad. When you substitute x is equal to 0, what do you get? 0, 0 and minus 10. So for x is equal to 0, y will be equal to minus 10. So these 3 points are clear, easy to understand. Now next point will be the point of vertex. Okay, the point of vertex. And point of vertex, for that point of vertex, you need to put the value of x as midpoint of roots. So midpoint of roots here will be 5 minus 2 by 2. Basically 5 plus minus 2, alpha plus beta by 2. So 5 plus minus 2 is 5 minus 2 by 2. So 5 minus 2 is 3 by 2. 3 by 2 is what? 1.5. 1.5. So if I substitute x is equal to 1.5, whatever I get the value of y, I'll write it here. Let me substitute that. So y equal to 1.5 square minus 3x. Are you learning how to find the coordinate of vertex? Substitute x is equal to midpoint of the roots. Roots are what? The values of x when you substitute y equal to 0. Yes? Clear? Okay, now the value of y. Fine, here x is supposed to be 1.5. 1.5 square, 2.25. Minus, this is what? 4.5. Minus 10. What do you get? Calculate. Let me shift the graph in the meantime. Yes, got it? Yeah, 2.25 minus 2.25, minus 12.25. Yes, minus 12.25. This is the coordinate of y, minus 12.25. That's the coordinate of vertex. Well, unfortunately, I have got only till minus 10. So I'll make a few more points. Minus 11. This is, let's say, minus 12. And this is minus 13. Okay. So minus 12.25 should be somewhere here. Fine. Okay. Let's plot the coordinates. So coordinates which we have got is x is equal to 5 and y equal to 0. So 5 comma 0. Where do you get 5 comma 0? This is the way, 5 comma 0. Then the next coordinate is minus 2 comma 0. Minus 2 comma 0. Next is 0 comma minus 10. Well, 0 comma minus 10. This is here. And the vertex is 1.5 comma minus 12.25. At 1.5 x positive minus 12.5, so it should be somewhere here. Yeah. The important is, did you understand how to find the coordinate of vertex? Take the midpoint of roots, the values of x, roots, and take that as the value of the coordinate of x and substitute that in the equation, get the value of y. Are you clear with this point? Yes, I'm sure. Okay. Now it's about drawing. Oh god, that's a difficult part. Drawing is a difficult part for me. Well, it is in exam, nobody will ask you to draw. Okay, it is curved. Okay, it can't be sharp. It has to be curved like this. Yeah, we are going in the right direction. Oh, it has to be smooth, okay? It's not like zigzag. But I hope you're understanding my feelings. भावनाओं को समझ रहे होंगे आप लोग. Yeah. Beautiful. Oh God, not beautiful. Where like. Drawing is difficult. Calculation is fine. So vertex coordinate is 1.5 comma minus 12.25. This is minus 10 comma 0. Sorry, 10 0 comma minus 10. This is minus 2 comma 0, and this is what, 5 comma 0. Yes, we learn how to plot the graph of quadratic function. Okay, now let's see some characteristics of quadratic functions. Let's see some characteristics of quadratic functions. The possible graphs of quadratic function. So one characteristics you understood. Quadratic, this parabola, quadratic function always represent parabola. Parabola will be upward when a is positive. Parabola will be downward when a is negative. Now tell me one thing. I told you to find that vertex and find when you substitute y equal to 0, you get some x value, correct? So these equations were easy. Now think about equation where you have imaginary values. You may get, like, you may be asked to plot the graph for x square plus x plus 1. You remember we solved this in one of the one of these where one of the lecture we have solved. I think lecture number 5. Yeah, I know. Where we have used the formula, man. Yeah, this one, lecture number 3. We solved that x square plus x plus 1 equal to 0, and we got the imaginary value when this side is equal to 0. How do you deal with that? You know what does it mean? It means that the graph does not touch x-axis when the roots are imaginary. Note it down. When the roots are imaginary, then the parabola will not or does not touch x-axis. This is a beautiful concept. Hardly people know this. Yeah. So as I said, nobody will ask you in exam to plot the graph. You need to understand the characteristics of the graph. So for this, if you substitute x is equal to 0 here, you get y equal to 1. So for x is equal to 0, y is equal to 1. So here y equal to 1, let's say. So this is going to go something like this. It won't touch x-axis. Now why it is upward? Because a is positive here. The coefficient of x square is positive here. Watch this entire video, this entire lecture once again. It's very important. Learning how to plot the graph of quadratic equation. Yeah. Characteristics: upwards a is positive, downwards a is negative. If roots are imaginary, it will not touch. It will not touch. In case if it is downwards, still it will not touch. It will be something like this. Okay. Let me give you one example. Y equal to minus x square minus x minus 1. X square is negative. The coefficient of x square is negative. A is negative here. So it has to be downwards. And the roots of this equation will be imaginary. Right? So it will not touch x-axis here. A lot. I know it's a lot. But slowly, steadily you will learn, and I told you it will come by practice. Don't feel disheartened. if it is complicated, and if you understood, congratulate yourself, cheer up. Okay, I will see you in the next lecture. This is it in today's lecture. I know it's a lot, so this is it in today's lecture. My name is Shamanav, signing off. I will see you in the next lecture. Till then, stay happy, stay healthy. Bye bye.